Namaskar. Welcome to the session on food technology. In this session, we are understanding vermicomposting. Soil fauna play a prominent role in regulating soil processes, and among these, the termites and the earthworms play a vital role in maintaining soil quality and managing efficient nutrient cycling. In organic farming practices, the soil is considered to be a living component with physical, chemical and biological characteristics. For much of the past decade, homeowners, farmers and solid waste managers have looked with greater interest at the potential of worms to transform wastes into beneficial resources such as compost. Thus, compost is generally called as vermicompost, in which controlled degradation or composting of organic wastes primarily occurs due to earthworms. Hence, it is a method of making compost with the use of earthworms, which generally live in soil, eat biomass and excrete it in digested form. Organic wastes can be broken down and fragmented rapidly by earthworms, resulting in a stable, non-toxic material with good structure, which has a potential high economic value as soil conditioner for plant growth. Vermicompost is finely divided peat-like material with excellent structure, porosity, aeration, drainage and moisture holding capacity. Low, medium and high technology systems are available to improve vermicomposting. Vermicomposting involves great reduction in populations of pathogenic microorganisms, thus not differing composting from this point of view. Even low, medium and high technology systems are available to increase the quality of the vermicompost. Finished vermicompost should have a rich, earthly smell if properly processed by worms. Vermicompost can be used in potting soil mixes for house plants and as a top dressing for lawns. Screened vermicompost combined with potting soil mixes make an excellent media for starting young seedlings. Vermicompost also makes an excellent mulch and soil conditioner for the home garden. The best natural means of converting waste is the vermicomposting, and let us understand this in this episode in the following headings. The first, organic wastes used for vermicomposting, earthworms used in vermicomposting, gut microflora of earthworms, process of vermicomposting, advantages and disadvantages of the vermicomposting. The biologically degradable and decomposable organic wastes commonly used as composting materials in vermiculture and vermicomposting are animal dung, agricultural waste, forestry wastes, city leaf litter, waste paper, cotton cloth, city refuge, biogas slurry and industrial wastes. Utilizable wastes for vermicomposting can also be generated from different sources like household waste, industrial waste, etc. Earthworms can be fed all forms of food waste, yard and garden waste, paper and cardboard, etc. Yard wastes such as leaves, grass clippings, straw and non-woody plant trimmings can also be composted. Leaves are the dominant organic waste in most backyard compost piles. If grass clippings are used, it is advisable to mix them with other yard waste. Otherwise, the clippings may compact and restrict airflow. Branches and twigs greater than 1/4 inch in diameter should be put through an shredder or chipper. Sawdust may be added in moderate amounts if additional nitrogen is applied. Wood ashes act as a lime source and if used should only be added in small amounts, that is 5 kg per ton of waste. Earthworms have 600 million years of experience as waste and environmental managers managing bio-waste including human waste, soil and land on earth. Aristotle called them as intestine of earth, meaning that they can digest a wide variety of waste materials from earth. About 4,400 different species of earthworms have been identified and quite a few of them are versatile waste eaters and biodegraders and feed on variety of organic wastes. It promotes the growth of beneficial decomposer bacteria in waste biomass and acts as an aerator, grinder, crusher, chemical degrader and a biological stimulator. Earthworms affect ecosystem structure and function directly by ingesting, altering and mixing organic residues and mineral soil. Through these actions, they change the structure, chemistry and biology of soil. Earthworms are classified into 3 ecological groups based on their distinct feeding and burrowing habits. Stable isotope analysis has confirmed and refined conventional ecological classification systems. Epigeic earthworms live above mineral soil, rarely form burrows and feed preferentially on plant litter. Endogeic earthworms forage below the surface soil, ingest large quantities of mineral soils and humified material, and they build ramified, predominantly horizontal burrows. Enic earthworms build permanent vertical burrows deep into the mineral soil layer, and they come to the surface of the feed on partially decomposed plant litter, manure and other organic residues. The ecological groups of some common but not all earthworm species are clearly established. The various species of earthworms have different environmental requirements which are necessary for their propagation and continued health. These requirements will inevitably dictate whether one particular family of worms will be suitable for culture in any given circumstance. On the other hand, the 2 most commonly used worms for vermicomposting, Eisenia foetida and Lumbricus rubellus, are the most popular precisely because of the ease replicating in the environmental conditions they prefer. Perfectly suited to an indoor existence, the culturing of these animals presents next to no problem, requiring only a minimum of effort and presenting no hardship for those of us who share their place of residence. The fact is, in the absence of the normal hazards these worms usually face in their outdoor habitats, they are found to grow faster, stay healthier, live longer and reproduce at an increased rate indoors. Thus, indoor culture turns out to be heaven for them and a great benefit to the landlord, who will have a great new way to convert his organic waste materials into a wonderful food for his plants, lawn and garden. Major requirements for the vermiculture are aeration, moisture content and temperature. Earthworms need to breathe just like most other living creatures. The process of osmosis makes a worm rather different than those of us with lungs, but the end result is pretty much the same. Gradually, the available oxygen is used up and replaced with carbon dioxide and other miscellaneous waste gases. Moisture content should be maintained within range. Rainfall must not be allowed to enter the bin, and also bin must not be dried out during summer. Temperature requirements for optimal results is 20 to 30 degrees centigrade. Earthworms can survive at the range of low temperatures to 48 degrees centigrade maximum. Earthworm need little help for feeding bigger sized waste materials. If it is chopped into small pieces, it will be easier to the earthworms to feed. Usually, 2 kg of earthworms will recycle 1 kg of organic waste in 24 hours. Differences in earthworm digestion and assimilation processes suggest the possible existence of ecological group, specifically gut microbiota. Although the microbial profile of the gut content is of the same kind to that of soil and feed resources, it is not a coincidental combination of the microorganisms present in soil. The evolutionary relationship between earthworm, burrowing and feeding habits and the gut microbial community has not been defined. However, based on studies conducted on insects and faunal gut associated microbial communities, we can expect the microbial profile of the gut to be an important determinant of earthworm metabolism. Diet, host anatomy and phylogeny have been shown to influence the composition of microbiota within the gut of carnivores, herbivores and omnivores, including humans and primates. However, there is no information available regarding the comparative microbial community composition in different earthworm ecological groups or the association between gut microbiota, biodiversity and ecological groups. Recent studies are highlighting the importance of gut microbiota and their influence on the host physiology. Earthworms are the most important soil invertebrates in the soil ecosystem in terms of biomass and activity, being often considered as ecosystem engineers. Moreover, soil contains a large diversity of microorganisms. Earthworms are important drivers of soil biogeochemical processes as they modify soil physicochemical properties and microbial communities by feeding, burrowing and casting activities. Decomposition and humification of biodegradable organic waste materials is predominantly carried out by microorganisms in the soil, but earthworms too have roles in humification. The composition of microflora in the earthworm gut varies depending on the species of earthworm, season and feeding regime of the earthworm. The number of microorganisms present in the gut of earthworm dependent on the substrate that the earthworm fed on soil, and either no changes or higher numbers in the earthworms fed on decomposed leaves than in earthworms fed on inert substrate. Interactions between earthworms and microorganisms seems to be complex. Earthworms are reported to have association with such free-living soil bacteria and constitute the Drillosphere. In this way, it is known that microbial biomass and activity are usually enhanced in the Drillosphere, with greater numbers of microbial colony forming units in the burrow walls and earthworm cast than in the parent soil. The aerobic bacterial counts in the midgut of earthworm, Libiodrilus violaceus, was higher than that of foregut, whereas the hindgut region recorded maximum. This incorporates with the findings of the researchers proving that earthworms include microorganisms in their substrates as a food source and can digest them selectively. Let us understand the process of vermicomposting. The process of vermicomposting will start from the construction of bins. These can be made of wood or plastics or from recycled materials, or concrete tanks may also be used. The length and width of the bin will depend on whether it is to be stationary or portable. The shape and size of the vermicomposting container depend on the requirement that is quantity of the waste to be composted and number of live earthworms required for culturing. On an average, 2000 adult earthworms can be maintained in containers of 1 meter square dimension. These, with appropriate condition of composting material, would convert approximately 200 kilograms waste every month. Interestingly, roughly in a container of 2.23 into 2.23 meter, about 10 kgs of earthworms can convert approximately 1 ton per month. So, let us understand how this process can be done. The first stage in vermicomposting is vermicomposting will start from the process of preparing the vermicomposting bin, followed by vermibed, which is cleaned and disinfected properly, and later a layer of broken bricks or pebbles are added to the vermibed. Then a layer of coarse sand was added. Then loamy soil was filled up to 3/4 of the vermicomposting bin, followed by a layer of epigeic and aneic earthworms which are inoculated, and a layer of cattle dung and hay was added on the top of the vermicomposting bin. Finally, on the top of the vermicomposting bin, a net was covered. The lower most layer of earthworm feed substrate that is required to be vermicomposted is called as bedding material. The bedding material for startup and future restarts can be any biodegradable matter like banana stem peels, coir pith, coconut and other leaves, sugarcane thrash, stems of crops, grasses or husk, etc. Any moistened organic materials can be used for bedding. Ideal conditions for earthworms are like temperatures between 55 to 70 degree Fahrenheit, Humidity should be maintained at 55% and keep the earthworms out of rain. pH of the bed should be maintained at 6 to 7. Ingredient mixture or bedding material will play a major role in vermicomposting. These ingredients are broadly grouped into two classes, that are browns and greens. Browns are dry and dead plant materials such as straw, dry brown weeds, autumn leaves and wood chips or sawdust. These are mostly made up of chemicals that are just long chains of sugar molecules linked together. These browns must need to be wetted before they are put into compost system. The other one, the greens, are fresh plant materials such as green weeds from the garden, kitchen fruit and vegetable scraps, green leaves, horse manure, etc. Compared to browns, greens have more nitrogen in them. So therefore, good mix of browns and greens is the best nutritional balance for the gut microflora of earthworms. In the ratio of 1:1, greens and browns, or 2 parts of brown to 1 part of greens, will be a good nutritional balance for composting. Particle size of the waste material should be smaller in nature, because smaller the size of organic waste, the faster the compost will be ready for use. Smaller particles have much more surface area that can be attacked by the gut microflora. Larger wastes are chopped off to smaller size and then it can be used for composting systems as mentioned earlier. There are many problems that will directly or indirectly affect the vermicomposting process. Earthworms are the key players in the vermicompost process. As all the organisms have their own predators in the natural system, the major earthworm predator is the mole. This voracious insect predator loves to dine on white and any earthworms it can find. Tilling the soil does reduce the earthworm population, not because it kills or disturbs them, but because tilling aerates the soil, and this oxygen quickly reduces the organic matter that the earthworm uses as food. Mulching with green matter will help to provide food to earthworms to replenish what is lost in tilling. Earthworms come out of their burrows during rain to avoid drowning. Worms have no lungs, they take their oxygen directly through the skin, either from air or from water. In fact, rather than fear of water, they love it. It's drying out they fear, and dry soils kill them. The excess food waste must be maintained in a proper storing facility, otherwise this food waste will be spoiled by the fruit flies. They lay their eggs on the waste foods and spoil the texture and cannot be used for composting. Too much of food wastes are loaded onto the bin, then earthworms will get stressed and they will die. Even too wet condition or too dry conditions have influence on survival of earthworms, or they will try to escape. If the bedding material was used up by the earthworms, bin should be harvested and fresh bedding material should be added, or then also these earthworms will try to escape. If the bin started smelling very bad, then the lid has to be taken off for some time and more ventilation must be provided. This is because the bin is too wet. Too much of food was loaded or there was not enough air present. Vermitechnology is the combination of vermiculture and vermicomposting. Thus, it is the application of earthworm in the following areas. The first area for the development of arable soils, turnover of soils, breakdown of plant organic matter, aeration and drainage. The second one, for production of useful products like vermifertilizer, worm tissue for animal feed. The third, for maintenance of environmental quality and monitoring of the environment for soil fertility, organic and heavy metal, non-biodegradable toxic material pollution, etc. The money-making potential of vermiculture is so attractive that it is rapidly becoming a growth industry. There are three key components of the commercial vermiculture which explain its present appeal and future potential. The first, earthworms are capable of transforming huge amounts of waste, which is growing concern in our society. For those who are raising worms for profit, the feedstock is generally plentiful and free. Second, after acquiring an initial inventory as breeding stock, the worm population can double in 2 to 4 months. The third, the production of castings is a highly prized soil amendment sought by landscapers, gardeners and horticulturists. Vermicomposting will enable easy management of the organic wastes. Huge quantities of domestic, agricultural and rural industrial organic wastes can be recycled for various usages. This also reduces pollution. Vermicastings are effective biofertilizers containing beneficial soil microflora and earthworm cocoons. When covered with a layer of mulch in the soil, they produce an earthworm population of 1 lakh per acre in 3 months. Activation of soil biology in this way is an essential component of natural farming. The other applications of vermicompost, it can be effectively utilized as a carrier medium for azospirillum, rhizobium and phosphate solubilizers. These are also providing very good association for enhancing their interactions with plant roots. In conclusion, in the past 50 years, mankind has destroyed the worm habitat in an effort to improve agricultural efficiency. The use of chemical fertilizers has increased the salinity of the soil, making it unpalatable to our own worm friends. Pesticides in turn kill indiscriminately, destroying the good with the bad. As if that wasn't enough, over tillage of the soil destroys the worm tunnels that are vital for their survival. The art of vermicomposting need to be practiced to add values to the principles of environment and eco-friendly management of the wastes generated from different sources including food industry. Thank you.